Can you handle the stories behind the most disturbing images ever captured on camera? I'm talking about photos that changed everything for the people in them. Photos where you know exactly what happened 5 seconds after the shutter closed. Images that shouldn't exist, but somehow do. Today, we're going through an iceberg of the most disturbing images ever captured. Quick disclaimer before we start. Some of these involve real tragedies and real people who lost their lives, so I'm gonna keep it respectful. But yeah, this is gonna get pretty heavy. If you're into this kind of content, hit subscribe. Most of you watching are not subscribed, and it actually helps a lot. Alright, let's get into this iceberg. Level 1. Evil Stick. Let's start with something that seems almost innocent compared to what's coming. There's this toy called the Evil Stick, and it was sold in stores across multiple countries in the 2010s. The packaging shows this cute anime girl holding the same wand. Everything looks completely innocent. It's marketed directly to little girls. But inside the wand, there's a hidden image. When you press the button, it lights up and shows a disturbing image of a woman. Parents started finding these in toy aisles and obviously freaked out. The company that made it never explained why. Like, at all. They just did that. Put that kind of image in a children's toy and sold it. To this day, nobody really knows if it was some kind of sick joke, a manufacturing error, or what, but it's still one of the most disturbing toys ever created. Stairs in the woods. This one's weird because it's not just one photo. It's a phenomenon that keeps happening. All over the world, in forests and national parks, people find staircases. Just stairs in the middle of nowhere. Sometimes they're made out of stone or marble, sometimes wood, sometimes they look brand new, sometimes they're completely rotting. But they're always in places where there's no house, no building, nothing. Just stairs leading to nothing. And yeah, that's already creepy, but it gets worse. People who get near these stairs report really strange stuff happening. They feel like they're being watched. They get sudden panic attacks out of nowhere. Some people claim they've seen shadow figures near the stairs. There are even legends about people climbing them and never coming back down. Park rangers apparently have an unofficial rule. If you see stairs in the woods, you don't go near them. You just keep walking. Goebbels Stair. This photo was taken in 1933 at a League of Nations conference in Geneva. It shows Josef Goebbels, Nazi propaganda minister, one of Hitler's closest allies, sitting in a garden with some of his associates. But he's not looking at them. He's staring directly at the camera, and the look on his face is pure hatred. The photographer was a guy named Alfred Eisenstadt. He was Jewish. Goebbels knew that, and you can see it in his eyes. This is one of the most powerful photos from that era because it just captures evil in one single moment. It's a reminder that monsters don't always look like monsters. Sometimes they're just people. People with that kind of hatred inside them. Smile Dog. Around 2008, something started spreading across internet forums. An image file called smile.jpg. Just a photo of a dog, a Siberian husky, sitting in a dark room, staring directly at the camera. But there's something wrong with it. The dog's mouth, it's way too wide. And instead of dog teeth, it has what looks like human teeth. This big, unnatural grin. The eyes are glowing from the camera flash, and in the background, you can barely make out a human hand reaching out from the darkness. The story that came with the image was terrifying. According to the legend, this wasn't just a creepy photo, it was cursed. Anyone who saw smile.jpg would start having nightmares. Every single night, the dog would appear in your dreams, and it would tell you one thing: spread the word. The only way to stop the nightmares, send the image to someone else. Pass the curse along, like a chain letter, but way darker. If you refused to spread it, the nightmares would get worse. Some versions of the story claimed people went insane. Others said Smile Dog would eventually appear in real life and drag you to hell. The creepypasta tells the story of a woman named Mary who saw the image back in 1992 on an old bulletin board system. She claimed that for 15 years, Smile Dog haunted her dreams every single night. She almost gave the image to a journalist just to end her suffering. Now here's where it gets interesting. What is the origin of the actual image? Nobody knows. People have been trying to track down the original photo for years. Some say it first appeared on 4chan's paranormal board in 2008. Others claim to have seen earlier versions, but no one can say for sure who created it or where the original unedited photo of the husky came from. There are dozens of versions floating around online now. Some look more disturbing than others. People keep editing it, making it worse, adding more teeth, making the smile wider. But according to the legend, none of these are the real smile.jpg. The actual cursed image has never been found online. Every version you see is supposedly fake because the real one is too dangerous to upload. The people who claim to have seen the real smile.jpg, they either won't talk about it, disappeared from the internet, or according to the story, didn't survive. Whether you believe it's cursed or just a really effective creepypasta, Smile Dog became one of the most iconic internet horror images of the 2000s. The fact that no one can definitively say where it came from just makes it creepier. And honestly, even knowing it's probably just a photoshopped image someone made to scare people, that grin still gets under your skin. Level 2. The 2004 Tsunami Wave. December 26, 2004. Thailand. This photo shows a bunch of tourists standing on the beach, looking out at the ocean. You can see these massive waves approaching in the background. Here's the thing, they didn't realize what they were looking at. A magnitude 9.1 earthquake had just happened in the Indian Ocean, triggering one of the deadliest tsunamis in recorded history. The water had receded from the beach, exposing the ocean floor. People thought it was cool, so they walked out to look at it. They were taking photos, picking up fish that were stranded. Some people are literally smiling in pictures like this one. The waves you see in this photo tragically resulted in thousands of people losing their lives shortly after it was taken. It's one of the deadliest natural disasters ever, and this image captures the exact moment before it happened. People just standing there, not knowing they have maybe minutes to live. Seconds before lightning. 1975, Sierra Nevada mountains. Two brothers are out hiking when suddenly their hair starts standing straight up. They thought it was hilarious, so they took this photo. Hair standing up like this means the air around you is electrically charged. It means lightning is about to strike. Like right now. They didn't know that. They're smiling in the photo. Seconds after this was taken, lightning struck. Both brothers survived, but one of them suffered pretty bad burns. They got incredibly lucky though. This is one of those photos that's actually used in safety courses now. If your hair does this, you get low to the ground immediately and cover your head. You don't stop to take a picture. But hey, at least they survived to learn that lesson. Andes flight disaster, 1972. October 13th, 1972. A Uruguayan rugby team's plane crashes in the Andes Mountains. 45 people on board. 33 survive the initial crash. But here's where it gets bad. The search and rescue operations were called off pretty quickly. They assumed everyone was dead. The conditions were too harsh, the location too remote. It wasn't worth the resources. So these 33 people were left stranded in freezing mountains for 72 days. And their food ran out after just a few days. They made a decision, an impossible decision, but the only one that would let them survive. They resorted to using the bodies of the fallen for survival. It's the only reason 16 people ultimately made it out alive. 2 of them finally managed to hike out and get help, and the rest were rescued. There are photos from when they were found. You can see it in their faces, what they went through, what they had to do to survive. Those survivors are still alive today, still living with that decision. It's one of the most extreme survival stories ever documented, and honestly, I don't know what I would do in that situation. Jeff the Killer. If you've spent any time on the internet in the last 15 years, you've probably seen this face. pale white skin, a carved smile stretching from ear to ear, black circles around the eyes, no eyelids, Jeff the Killer. The image shows up everywhere. Screamer videos, creepypasta forums, random jump scare pranks. It's one of the most recognizable horror images on the internet. The story goes like this. A teenager named Jeffrey Woods moves to a new neighborhood. He gets into a fight with some bullies. His face gets burned with bleach and fire, and he goes completely insane. He severely disfigured his own face so he's always smiling. He even removed his own eyelids so that he never has to stop looking at his beautiful face. Then he goes on a killing spree, whispering "go to sleep" before he kills them. That's the creepypasta. But the image itself, that's where things get weird. The photo first appeared online around 2008. It was posted to a site called Newgrounds by a user named Killer Jeff. But even back then, people suspected it wasn't an original photo. It looked edited. Way too edited. So people started digging. Where did this image actually come from? For years, there was a rumor that it came from a girl named Katie Robinson. The story claimed she posted a photo of herself on 4chan in 2008, got bullied for her appearance, and later took her own life. According to the rumor, someone took her photo and edited it into what became Jeff the Killer. But here's the thing. That story, it's not true. The girl in the alleged original photo is actually someone named Heather White. She's alive. She confirmed years later that she has nothing to do with the Jeff the Killer image. The whole Katie Robinson story was just another internet myth layered on top of the existing creepypasta. So if it wasn't her, where did the photo come from? Some people traced it back even further, to 2005. A Japanese image board called Paya.cc. Someone found an earlier version of the image there, which means it existed years before the Jeff the Killer story was even written. There are theories that it was a screenshot from a live stream on a site called Stickam. A girl with a camera flash overexposing her face, making it look pale and washed out. Then someone grabbed the screenshot and kept editing it, adding the smile, removing the eyelids, making it more and more disturbing. But no one's ever been able to confirm who the person in the original photo actually was, or who did the first edit, or where it truly originated. The image just appeared on the internet, got passed around, edited over and over, until someone finally wrote a story around it and Jeff the Killer was born. What makes it unsettling isn't just the image itself. It's the fact that despite millions of people seeing it, despite years of internet detectives trying to track it down, no one can say for sure where it came from. Someone somewhere took that photo. Someone edited it. Someone created one of the most famous horror images on the internet, and we still don't know who. IRA Bomb, Family Photo. August 15th, 1998. Omagh, Northern Ireland. This photo shows a father with his son on his shoulders. Both of them are smiling. A happy moment, right? Just a dad and his son. They're standing next to a red car. That car contains a bomb, planted by the IRA, the Irish Republican Army. Seconds after this photo was taken, the bomb exploded. The father lost his life instantly, along with a photographer. 29 people total lost their lives that day. Over 220 people were injured. The only miracle here, the boy on his father's shoulders survived. Don't ask me how, but he did. This is the last photo taken before one of the deadliest attacks in Northern Ireland's history. And with that, we're done with level 2. From now on, it gets even darker. Level 3. The Crying Boy Paintings. Okay, so in the 1980s, these paintings of crying children were super popular in the UK. They were mass-produced. You could get them pretty cheap, and a lot of people had them hanging in their homes. Then houses started burning down, and I don't mean one or two, multiple houses, all with these paintings just catching fire. Sometimes there was no apparent cause. The fire would just start near the painting. But here's where it gets really creepy. When firefighters would go through these completely burned houses, I'm talking everything destroyed, nothing left, they'd find the paintings lying in the ash, completely untouched. Multiple documented cases of this happening. People started panicking and throwing the paintings away. Some people had even organized burnings of them. There's theories about it being a curse, about the paintings containing the spirits of burned orphans, all kinds of stuff. To this day, nobody has a solid explanation for why this kept happening. The paintings exist, the fires happened, the paintings survived when nothing else did. Make of that what you will. Solway Spaceman. May 23rd, 1964. A guy named Jim Templeton is out with his family in Solway, Firth, England. Beautiful sunny day. He's taking photos of his daughter in a field. He develops the photos, and in one of them, there's a figure standing behind his daughter. A figure in what looks like a white spacesuit, like a full astronaut suit. Templeton, his wife, and daughter all confirm there was absolutely no one else there that day. They were alone in that field. He took the negative to Kodak to get it examined. They said there was no tampering, no double exposure, nothing. The image was real. The British Ministry of Defence even got involved and investigated it. They never released what they found, but the photo remains unexplained. Ghost, time traveler, alien, optical illusion, we'll probably never know, but the Solway Spaceman is still one of the most famous unexplained photographs ever taken. The Blackboard Girl. 1948, shortly after World War II ended. This photo shows a young Jewish girl. She grew up in a concentration camp. After liberation, she was placed in a home for disturbed children, kids who had been through trauma that no child should ever experience. A photographer asked her to draw home on a blackboard. You know, draw what home means to you. She drew scribbles. Just wild, chaotic, meaningless lines all over the board. She couldn't even conceptualize what home was anymore. The concept was completely foreign to her. Her stare in this photo is haunting, completely blank, like there's nothing behind her eyes. The good news is she survived and she was being helped. But her childhood was stolen from her. She'll never get that back. Baltic anomaly. June 2011. A Swedish diving team called Ocean X is searching for shipwrecks at the bottom of the Baltic Sea. They're treasure hunters, basically. They found old warships, vintage champagne, even Fabergé eggs worth millions. But on this particular expedition, their sonar picks up something that makes them stop. A massive circular object, 60 meters wide, sitting 90 meters below the surface in the Gulf of Bothnia between Sweden and Finland. When they looked at the sonar image, it didn't look like a shipwreck. It didn't look like rocks. It looked like a disc, with straight edges, angular features. Some people said it looked like the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars. The team went back in 2012 to investigate further, and this is where things get weird. According to the divers, when they got close to the object, their equipment started malfunctioning. Sonar stopped working. Satellite phones went dead. Electrical instruments just shut off. They had to move about 200 meters away before everything started working again. 2 divers went down to see it in person. They said the object was huge, about 60 meters across, over 200 meters long, 4 meters tall. The surface was black, like it had been burned. There were ridges, straight lines, sharp right angles. One of the divers said it looked cut or molded. They brought up rock samples, sent them to geologists at Stockholm University, and this is where opinions split completely. Most scientists who looked at the data said it's probably a natural formation, a glacial deposit from the Ice Age. The Baltic Sea used to be covered in ice, and when glaciers melt, they leave behind all kinds of rocks and sediment in weird formations. The straight edges could be from rocks fracturing at right angles during earthquakes. The burnt appearance, maybe just volcanic rock that got transported there by ice. One geologist said the samples were exactly what you'd expect to find in a glacial basin. Granite, sandstone, some volcanic rock. Nothing unusual. But here's what doesn't add up. The Ocean X team has been finding shipwrecks in the Baltic Sea for years. They know what natural rock formations look like. They know what glacial deposits look like. And they're convinced this isn't that. An underwater archaeologist named Andreas Olsson examined photos of the object and said it looked man-made. Cut or molded, not naturally formed. And there's precedent for this. In 2024, archaeologists discovered a kilometer-long stone wall in the Baltic Sea near Germany. It was built 11,000 years ago by ancient people during the Stone Age. Proof that humans were building massive underwater structures long before we thought they could. So the Baltic anomaly being an ancient construction, it's not impossible. As of now, the Baltic anomaly is still sitting at the bottom of the Baltic Sea. No one's done a major scientific expedition to properly study it. No one's brought up enough samples to definitively say what it is. It could be glacial rock. It could be an ancient structure from before the Ice Age. It could be something else entirely. But until someone goes down there with better equipment and actually figures it out, it's just going to keep sitting in the dark, 90 meters below the surface. One of the most mysterious objects ever found underwater, and we still don't know what the hell it is. Ayano Tokumasu at Niagara Falls. 2011 Niagara Falls. There's this photo of a couple posing for a picture, smiling at the camera. A nice tourist photo. Except if you look in the background, there's a Japanese student named Ayano Tokumasu. She's wearing a red sweater, and she's standing on the railing to get a better view of the falls. The railing was wet from the mist, slippery. Seconds after this photo was taken, she tragically lost her life. This is literally the last image of her alive. Some couple's vacation photo accidentally captured the final moments of someone else's life. Alright, closing out level 3. Next up is level 4, and this is where things get significantly darker. Level 4. Hiroshima Shadows. August 6th, 1945. The atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima, Japan. The heat from the blast was around 4,000 degrees Celsius. People lost their lives instantly from the intense heat. But here's the thing. Their bodies shielded the stone and concrete beneath them from the blast. So when the dust settled, there were shadows. Permanent imprints on walls, on steps, on the ground. Shadows of where people were standing when the bomb went off. One famous shadow shows a person sitting on bank steps. Another shows someone pulling a cart. You can see the outline of their bodies, clear as day. The stone around them was bleached white by the heat, but where they were, it stayed dark. These aren't just photos of destruction. These are the only things left of those people, just their shadow, burned into stone, a silent witness to what happened that day. Some of these shadows are still visible today, over 75 years later, a permanent reminder of atomic horror. The Challenger Crew. January 28, 1986. This photo shows the crew of the space shuttle Challenger. 7 astronauts, smiling and waving for the camera. They're about to make history. One of them is Krista McAuliffe, a teacher. She was supposed to be the first civilian in space, and she was going to teach lessons from orbit. Her students were watching the launch live in their classroom. The entire nation was watching. 73 seconds after launch, the shuttle exploded. All 7 crew members were lost. It was on live television. Those students watched their teacher die. Millions of people watched it happen in real time. This photo shows them smiling, excited, ready to go to space. And minutes later, they were gone. It's one of NASA's darkest days. One of those moments where everyone who was alive then remembers exactly where they were when it happened. Travis Alexander's last photo. June 4th, 2008, Mesa, Arizona. This photo shows a guy named Travis Alexander sitting in his shower. He looks terrified. You can see the fear in his eyes. His girlfriend, Jodi Arias, took this photo. Moments later, she attacked and shot him. The photo was recovered from a camera they tried to destroy, but the memory card survived, and this image was on it. The question is, did he know? Can you see in his face that he knew what was about to happen? Or was he just confused about why she was taking photos? Jodi Arias was sentenced to life in prison. The trial was massive, covered everywhere, and this photo was one of the key pieces of evidence. The last moments of Travis Alexander's life. It's genuinely disturbing to look at, because you know what happens next. Level 5. Blanche Monnier, 25 years in darkness. May 23, 1901. Police in Poitiers, France, received an anonymous tip about a woman being held captive. They went to investigate this upper-class home. and what they found was horrific. In a small attic room, they found Blanche Monnier. She had been locked in that room for 25 years. She was in terrible condition, weighing only 55 pounds. She hadn't seen sunlight once in over 2 decades. Her crime? She wanted to marry a man her mother didn't approve of, so her mother and brother locked her in the attic and left her there for 25 years, barely feeding her, never letting her out. Her mother died 15 days after being arrested. Her brother was convicted and sent to prison. Blanche spent the rest of her life in a psychiatric hospital. She never fully recovered from what they did to her. Leonarda Cianciulli, the soap maker, 1939 to 1940, Italy. This photo shows a sweet-looking old lady. Kinda looks like someone's grandma, right? Her name is Leonarda Cianciulli, and she's a serial killer. She took the lives of 3 women. What she did afterward was so disturbing that I'm not going to describe it out of respect. During her trial, the details that came out shocked everyone. She was completely matter-of-fact about everything. She died in a criminal asylum in 1970. The case remains one of the most disturbing in Italian criminal history. Josef Fritzl's vacation photo. This photo shows a happy old man on a cruise ship, smiling, enjoying the sunshine and ocean breeze. Looks like a nice vacation. While this photo was being taken, Josef Fritzl's daughter was locked in a basement. He had been holding her captive for 24 years. He imprisoned her when she was 18 years old in a hidden cellar beneath his house in Austria. She never saw daylight for over 2 decades. His wife, neighbors, everyone thought he was just a normal guy, maybe a bit strict, but normal. The whole time, there was a woman locked beneath his house, enduring unimaginable trauma, and he would just go about his day, go on vacation, smile for the camera. Elisabeth Fritzl was finally freed in 2008. Josef is in prison now, where he belongs, but this photo shows how monsters can hide in plain sight, how someone can be living a normal life on the surface while committing absolute evil underground. Timothy Treadwell's final days. Timothy Treadwell loved bears, like genuinely loved them. He dedicated his entire life to living among grizzly bears in Alaska, studying them, filming them. He spent 13 summers living with wild grizzlies in Katmai National Park. His footage shows him getting dangerously close to these massive animals, touching them, talking to them like they're his friends. In October 2003, a grizzly bear attacked and killed him. His girlfriend also tragically lost her life trying to save him. His camera was recording when it happened. Werner Herzog made a documentary about Treadwell called Grizzly Man. He mentioned that audio exists from the incident, but it has never been publicly released out of respect. He advises that it should be destroyed. The bears he loved, that he thought he had this connection with, killed him. His own footage exists showing those exact same bears, the ones that would eventually kill him. It's tragic because he really did love them. Robert Landsberg, Mount St. Helens. May 18th, 1980. Mount St. Helens in Washington state is showing signs it's about to erupt. Robert Landsberg, a photographer from Oregon, goes out to capture it. The volcano erupts. It's massive, way bigger and faster than anyone expected. Landsberg realizes he can't escape. The pyroclastic cloud is moving at hundreds of miles per hour. There's no way he can outrun it. So he does the only thing he can do. He keeps shooting. He takes photos of the eruption, of the cloud approaching, of his own death coming toward him. Then, as the cloud is about to hit, he lies down on top of his camera to protect it with his body. They found him later buried under ash and debris, but the camera beneath him survived. The film was developed, and we have these incredible photos showing the last seconds of his life. The massive ash cloud literally engulfing everything in its path. He died doing what he loved, and his sacrifice preserved an incredible scientific record of the eruption. But damn, those photos are hard to look at knowing what happened to the person taking them. Level 6. The German soldier returns home. 1945. World War II just ended. This photo shows a young German soldier standing in rubble, staring at what used to be his home. He's just returned from the war. He was probably thinking about this moment for years, coming home, seeing his family, sleeping in his own bed again. Instead, everything is gone. The house is destroyed, bombed to ruins. His family had been lost in the bombings. You can see it in his face, that moment of realization that everything he knew, everyone he loved, is just gone. This was the reality for countless soldiers from all sides of the war. You survive the fighting, you make it home, and there's nothing left to come home to. War doesn't end when the fighting stops. Some people never recover from coming home to nothing. The Cooper family falling body, 1950s, exact date unknown. The Cooper family just moved into a new house. The father sets up the camera, gets everyone together for a nice family photo. The photo develops, and at first it looks normal. Mom, dad, kids, everyone smiling. Then they see it. There's a figure suspended in mid-air in the background. It appears to be falling or floating. It's wearing what looks like a white nightgown or sheet. The face is completely black. You can't see any features. The family insists there was absolutely no one else there, and looking at the photo, it's physically impossible for someone to be suspended in that position. There are no beams, no way to hold someone up there. This photo has been analyzed for decades. Ghost of a previous owner who died in the house? Some kind of entity? A double exposure in the camera? Nobody knows. The photo exists, the image is there, but there's no explanation for it. It's either genuine paranormal evidence or one of the most elaborate hoaxes ever created. And honestly, I don't know which possibility is more disturbing. Level 7. The Lipstick Killer's Plea. We've reached the bottom of the iceberg. One final image. December 10th, 1945. Chicago, Illinois. A woman named Frances Brown tragically lost her life in her apartment. But the killer did something else. Something that made this case infamous. He went into her bathroom and took her lipstick. Then he went to the living room and wrote a message on the wall. In her own lipstick, blood red on white wall. For heaven's sake, catch me before I kill more. I cannot control myself. It's a confession and a plea at the same time. This message became one of the most famous pieces of evidence in serial killer history. The killer was William Heirens. He was arrested in June 1946 and confessed to 3 murders. But here's where it gets complicated. Some people believe his confession was coerced, that he was tortured by police until he confessed to crimes he didn't commit. Others believe he was absolutely guilty. Heirens spent 65 years in prison, the longest-serving prisoner in Illinois history. He died in 2012, still claiming he was innocent. The lipstick message was photographed and preserved as evidence. It still exists today. The question remains, was it genuine? Was this really a cry for help from someone who couldn't stop killing? Was the message written by William Heirens at all, or did police frame him? We'll probably never know the truth, but that message, written in a victim's own lipstick, remains one of the most haunting artifacts from that era. And that's the bottom of the iceberg. Some of these images are paranormal, some are tragic accidents, and some show the absolute worst of humanity. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. It helps the channel out a lot. And let me know in the comments which case disturbed you the most. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there.